I thought I had found my true love in retirement. It turned out he was just a computer program designed to rob me of $1.1 million. In just a few months, my entire life savings were gone, given to a man who never even existed. How could this happen? And more importantly, how can you prevent this from happening to you or someone you love? Retirement. They call it the golden years. After decades of hard work, I imagined my days would be filled with peace, enjoying my hobbies and maybe some travel. But the reality? It was lonely. The house felt empty. The days felt so long, and loneliness became my only companion. In the midst of that silence, I casually tried an online dating app, hoping to find someone to talk to. That's where I met Michael. His profile was perfect, perhaps too perfect. He was an American petroleum engineer working on an offshore rig in the Gulf of Mexico, a widower who said he longed for a sincere connection. His photos showed a handsome, mature man with a warm smile and eyes that seemed to hold many stories. For some reason, we clicked instantly. Our conversations just flowed from morning until late at night. Michael was everything I had ever dreamed of. He was a great listener, always remembering the little details from my stories. He praised my cooking, which he only saw in pictures, and we often fantasized about the future, spending the rest of our lives together, traveling the world. Every day he sent romantic poems and quotes that made my heart melt. I only learned later that this is called love bombing, where he intentionally showered me with excessive attention in a short amount of time. I truly felt like the luckiest woman in the world. The loneliness that had haunted me for so long slowly disappeared, replaced by hope. He was the perfect partner, always knowing what to say to make me feel special. I truly believed fate had brought us together. Our relationship deepened after a few weeks. We started having frequent video calls. I was nervous at first, afraid his face would be different from his photos. But as soon as I saw his face on the screen, all my doubts vanished. It was really him, Michael, with the same warm smile. He spoke with a charming southern drawl. Sure, sometimes the connection was bad, the image would freeze or his lip movements didn't sync with his voice, but he always had an excuse. He said he was on an offshore rig where the signal was poor. I just believed him. I realized now it wasn't a bad signal, it was deepfake technology, a sophisticated AI that mimics someone else's face and voice. The first request for money came about a month later. It was a small request, and the reason sounded plausible. He said one of his pieces of equipment at the drilling site was broken, and he needed funds quickly to buy a replacement part. He promised to pay me back as soon as he got paid. The amount wasn't large, so I didn't think twice about helping him. That's what partners do, right? Help each other out. He thanked me profusely, saying he had saved his day. But that was just the beginning. The next week, there was another problem. Unexpected crew costs, equipment rental fees, wages held up by bureaucracy. Each time, the story sounded convincing and urgent. His requests became more frequent, and the amounts grew larger. Whenever I hesitated, he would start a video call to convince me. Seeing his face, hearing his pleading voice made me give in. He would say, "Darling, this is just temporary. Think of it as an investment in our future. After this project is done, I'll retire, move here, and we'll live happily ever after." That promise of future was what kept me entangled. I sent money via bank transfers, sometimes through cryptocurrency. He said it was faster for the urgent transactions. I didn't know that method was nearly impossible to trace. The breaking point came when Michael told me about a once-in-a-lifetime investment opportunity. He said his project had discovered a massive new oil reserve, and he was offered the chance to buy a small portion of the shares before it went public. The profits would be incredible, enough for us to live in luxury. But there was one problem. He needed a very large initial capital, about $900,000. He intentionally made me panic, saying the offer was only valid for 48 hours. He sent me fake documents that looked very official, complete with company logos and signatures. He called me repeatedly, his voice sounding both excited and tense. He said, "This is our ticket to freedom, darling. All our sacrifices will pay off. I've already sold all my assets, but it's still not enough. I need your help. This is for us." My mind was in turmoil. On one hand, the amount was insane, nearly my entire retirement savings. But on the other hand, I was already too deep. I had already sent him so much money. This felt like the final step. I was blinded by love and the promise of a beautiful future. With trembling hands and a racing heart, I went to the bank and transferred the rest of my life savings. My total loss, from the first transfer to the last, reached $1.1 million. After the transfer went through, Michael sounded overjoyed. He showered me with thanks and sweet promises. He said he would wrap everything up and fly to meet me next week. I waited with great anticipation. On the first day, his messages were still sweet. On the second day, his replies started to slow down. On the third day, my messages were only met with a single checkmark. My calls weren't answered. The video calls never connected again. His dating profile disappeared. In an instant, Michael, the man I loved, the man I gave everything to, vanished into thin air. And that's when my world fell apart. It wasn't just my money that was gone, but also my heart, my hope, and my self-worth. I realized with horror that I had fallen in love with a digital ghost designed to destroy me. After days of denial and crying, I gathered the courage to report it to the police. The process was incredibly humiliating. Explaining to someone else how naive I had been felt like reopening a fresh wound. The cybersecurity expert handling my case explained that I was the victim of a very sophisticated scam. They used photos from another man's social media, then used AI deepfake technology to make him appear live during video calls. Those messages that felt so sincere were likely also generated by an AI trained to mimic human conversation. This bitter experience taught me a lot. I want to share it so you don't go through the same thing. First, the lesson I learned the hard way: be careful if a relationship feels like it's moving too fast. Scammers often use a technique called love bombing, professing their love within days or weeks to lower your guard. Second, never believe a request for money, no matter how plausible the reason sounds. A sincere person would never ask you to risk your finances, especially if you've never met in person. Third, don't ignore excuses for not meeting. Scammers always have 1,000 reasons why they can't see you. Stuck on an oil rig, on military deployment, visa issues. This is the biggest red flag. Fourth, try to verify their identity. Do a reverse image search on Google with their profile picture. If that photo appears elsewhere with a different name, it's definitely a scam. During a video call, ask them to do something strange and specific, like touching their nose with their pinky finger. Deepfakes often struggle to respond to commands like this. Fifth, never send money through hard-to-trace methods like crypto or wire transfers. And please, talk to someone you trust, a friend or family member, before making a major financial decision related to an online relationship. Losing $1.1 million was devastating, but the loss of trust is a much deeper wound. I have to rebuild my life from scratch. The shame is real, but I refuse to stay silent. I'm choosing to speak out, not for pity, but because my story might be able to protect someone else. Technology will continue to advance, and scammers will always find new ways to prey on our loneliness and hope. If there's one thing you can take from my story, it's this: never let hope blind you to reality. Always be vigilant. I'm begging you to share this story. You never know, your mother, your aunt, or your friend could be the next target. By spreading this awareness, we can protect each other. And if you or someone you know has gone through something similar, don't be ashamed. Share your experience in the comments. Let's create a community where victims can support one another, turning this pain into strength. Thank you for listening.